Hey everybody, I'm Elon Srilovich, and this is the Worthy Man Podcast. It's a new podcast, so stay tuned. I'm going to deep dive into this trend of, all these podcasts where they're asking women how much money they want a man to make, and it's always at a minimum, 6 figures, goes all the way up to 8, which is absolutely insane. But I have some funny videos here, so stay tuned. We're going to go over them, and I'm just going to deep dive into what I think this new modern day sickness in society is. So here we go.
Worthy Man Podcast. Worthy Man Podcast Show.
Okay, so let me just pull up this first video, and I haven't really watched it. I kind of want to have a live reaction to everything. So let's just see what comes up here.
Think make $150,000 per year?
I'll say 50.
What percentage of men do you think make $1 million a year?
Maybe like 9%.
What percent of men do you think make $500,000 a year?
Maybe 10%.
Miss Crypto Real Estate, what percentage of guys make $200K per year?
Like 12.
I think $200K per year, period.
Maybe like 12%.
Let's say 5.
5% of men make $150K per year? And do you think make $150K per year?
30%.
This was a very refreshing exercise because, quite frankly, in the United States, only 15% of Americans total, men, women, everybody, makes $100,000 a year. $150K per year, if it's a man, right, is way less than that.
Right. Well, that sums it up. I mean, there's a certain degree of delusion here where women genuinely believe most guys are making over $100,000 a year. Look, the truth is, it's okay to have whatever expectations you want on a partner, right? If you want to be with someone who is making over 6 figures, I think that's reasonable. If you go, look, I want to be a mom. I want to make sure that my kids are taken care of. I want to make sure that I could stay at home and take care of them. I need someone who can provide. I actually think that is a very traditional. A man should be a provider. I have no problem with that. A man should take care of his woman. I'm actually all for that. The problem that I see in society is that women don't actually want that. What women want is the benefits of a traditional man. You want a man who's loyal. You want a man who's making a lot of money. You want a man who's going to be a provider. But then you still want to live the exact lifestyle that you want to live without any of the consequence. You want to go out and party with your girls and drink and have other guys hitting on you, get all that attention. But you still want to be taken on vacations by your man, who, by the way, also has to be 6 feet tall, super handsome, super loyal, super charismatic. I mean, there's a value system here that is completely distorted. And I think that women don't realize just how much. And I'm going to explain why. I think a lot of girls, especially when filters started coming out on social media, what they don't realize is just because a guy's talking to you doesn't mean he likes you. Guys will talk to anyone. We're horny creatures. We're out to sleep around. Girls are very different. Not to say that girls don't like sleeping around too. Nowadays, that's like completely normal. But men and women seek entirely different things in a relationship. And so if you're looking for a man who's a traditional man, if you want all the benefits that you have historically received, but your modern day feminism is telling you that you have to provide none of the benefits back. Well, I'm sorry, that's not an equal exchange. And men are highly, highly, highly logical, rational creatures. And we go, what is the benefit to us? You want me to be loyal, but you want to go live the lifestyle you want. You want me to make a ton of money, but you want to go spend my money. You don't want to go make your own money. You want to not cook. You want to not clean. You want to not provide. So what am I getting here other than, okay, you're pretty for the next 10 years. And then what? So women's value is in their looks, sadly, for a lot of guys. But the reality is that their value is actually in those historically traditional qualities. If you're looking at a long-term partner, what men are looking for, we're looking for a woman who's going to be incredibly loyal, who's going to stand by her man, who's going to support her man. We're looking for a girl who's going to be a great mother. We're looking for a girl who's going to be able to do all those other things. I'm sorry, if I'm out working all day and I come home and I'm providing for you and there's not food on the table, that doesn't make me a douchebag anymore. That I'm upset about that. That doesn't make me a douchebag any more than you being upset if I don't decide to keep working. We're each doing our part. Things are a transaction, and there's no transaction anymore that makes sense in relationships for men. It's very, very sad. And it's why so many dudes are stepping out. Let's see this next video here.
How much money should your man make a year, Heather?
8 figures.
8 figures.
Ideally.
Okay, so that's $10 million.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Ideally.
Okay,
sure.
ideally. Gotcha.
Okay, so she's insane. I'm sorry. Are you a Victoria's Secret model who's also the best woman in the world? Because that's your starting point. That guy who makes $10 million a year can do whatever he wants. He's in the top. And by the way, again, the value systems, whether people like it or not, that is one of the highest values that women will attribute to a man, how much money they make. In most statistical studies, they will place it over looks, they'll place it over personality. That's the first thing they want. They want to be provided for. And you look here, what would she give back for that? And by the way, I want to pull up a very recent story that kind of captures why men are no longer getting married. Here we go. Kevin Costner ordered to pay $129,000 a month in child support. That's $129,000 a month. That is well over $1 million a year in child support. Now, here is what's insane about this. What's insane about this is it's completely irrational. A kid does not need a Bentley every month. And by the way, I think when a marriage ends, the man or the woman no longer receives the benefit of being with that other person. In other words, the relationship has ended, the contract has ended, the obligation has ended. If I lease a car and the lease ends, I can't go, well, I want you to keep, giving me the car for free for the rest of my life. I leased it for 3 years. I'm now owed the car. That's not how contracts work. In a marriage, by and large, is a contract, and there's no incentive for men anymore to be married at all. What do we get out of marriage? What we get out of marriage is that we are incentivized to stay in the relationship because we can lose so much. We can lose our kids if it breaks up. We can lose our money if it breaks up. We lose our self-esteem, that's for sure, because you often see that a lot of divorces, the majority of divorces are instigated by women. So men know going into a divorce, and most marriages end in divorce nowadays, that they are at a disadvantage. Now, what does the woman get in a divorce? Especially if we're looking at, most of these women who want high-earning men who are, able to give them all this money and do all this stuff. Exactly what we see with the Kevin Costner situation. What do women lose in a divorce? Well, she's getting $129,000 a month. $129,000 that should go to her kid, but it's going into her pocket. Why? I don't know. Why does child support work that way? Why isn't child support taken and put into a specific bank account that is monitored by the government or by some entity or even by the husband and is proven to only be used on things the kids need, like your schooling? It shouldn't be used on a car for the mother. Sorry, she doesn't need a Ferrari to drive her kid around. That's her problem. Figure it out. Go drive a Volvo. I mean, Volvos are nice. I don't know what the deal is with why I brought up Volvo. Sorry, Volvo. But the point is, it makes no sense that child support goes to the woman. It should go to the child. It's such an abused system. So she gets that. She gets all that money. She gets her freedom. She probably gets some of his homes, right? Because this $129,000 a month has nothing to do with what she's actually getting out of the divorce, which will be probably, in her case, a couple homes. But I cannot tell you how many friends I have who are not multi-millionaires who lost their homes to their wives. They also lost custody, and they had to give up everything just to try and get custody back. And so the courts will favor the woman there too. There is no incentive, and women don't think about this. A woman is incentivized to leave a marriage because she gets all that. A man is incentivized to stay in a marriage because he loses all of that. So why would men get married nowadays? Especially when women are openly stating things like, I want a 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure. I want a guy who makes $10 million a year, ideally. Like, that's your standard. And by the way, again, women have become completely delusional as to where they sit on the hierarchy of other women. Again, because of social media filters, all this stuff. You're a 4, but you believe you're a 9, and you're looking for the guy who's a 9. You're actually looking for the guy who's a 9.99999 when you look at all the qualities you're actually trying to get out of the relationship. You talk to most women nowadays, they go, I want a guy who's minimum 6 feet tall, minimum makes $100,000 a year, who's going to have also a 6-pack. Like, that's literally what they say they expect. Now, these girls are overweight. They're not attractive. They don't want to cook. They don't want to clean. But that's what they expect because they go on social media. They put a filter on their face. They go from being a 3 or a 4 to being a 7 or an 8. And guys give them attention. And by the way, a guy who's a 9.8 will give a 7 or an 8 female attention on social media. It doesn't mean he'll date you. It doesn't mean he'll take you into a long-term relationships. Our standards for who we will sleep with are significantly lower than who we will date. I will repeat this for all women out there. Our standards for who we will sleep with are significantly lower than who we will date. We have a completely different standard there. and we look for completely different things. And I think women are very, very confused between getting attention and actually being desired to be a partner. And it's very, very troubling. Like, look at this next video I'm going to play here. It is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
So, like, he is a senior software engineer, and the
By the way, I like this girl's podcast who's on the bottom left. She's the one who's talking about this stuff, and she's hilarious. But let's just watch because she has some funny comments on it.
software engineers I know make like 100 to 200,000. So he's making money. He's living in LA. How did he like treat you? Did you guys go on any fancy dates or any trips? Like, what was it like being with him?
So when we first met, he basically wanted me to move in right away. And I said no, because I had just found my own place, and moving in with someone, after not knowing them for that long is very scary. But he offered to pay my rent so that I could like spend time with him.
Pause. He offered to do what?
Okay, hold up for
He
1
offered
second.
to-
Let me just give you the backstory. First of all, can we just leave this up on the screen? Can we just look at the screen for a second? And this is not cruel, but they are saying that they deserve the top 10 to 20% of men. They deserve a six-figure man. And I just want you to absorb the visual because this is a reality. I want you to absorb, number one, what they look like, and number two, how little they care about their health. Okay, and I don't want to hear, I'll get some message. One of these women will write me and be like, I embrace diet and exercise. No, you don't. Whoever told you how to diet and exercise lied, and they're a malicious person, and they don't like you.
I mean, the body positivity trend has been completely insane to me because, look, end of the day, I'm just going to make a quick comment on that. But beauty is being healthy. I don't care what people say. If you're morbidly obese, you're not healthy. Doesn't make me a douchebag to say it. We got to get over that. We got to stop being ashamed to tell people that, hey, you're not healthy. In the same way that I don't endorse smoking. I don't endorse alcoholism. Obesity is arguably killing more people than that. So it doesn't make you a douchebag to call people out when they try and pretend that their lifestyle is healthy. You shouldn't go up to someone on the street randomly and be like, you're morbidly obese. You disgust me. No, that makes you an ass. But if you care about someone and they're obese and you're like, hey, look, I just think you should diet, that doesn't make you a jerk. But she's absolutely right. These women, these morbidly obese women, truly believe they are owed, they deserve, and they are entitled. She said $250,000 a year, and she's gladly letting him pay for the rent because why not?
Okay, let's continue.
Well, he not only offered, he did pay my rent.
There you go.
Okay, so this is like one of the main points to my viral videos that people were,
I know.
like outraged about. Like,
You shouldn't be
how
outraged
could
if a
pay
man
a fat woman's rent.
Also he was fat too, and that's that's something that I think a lot of podcasts we've seen recently.
yeah.
So I want to say again, it's a completely different value system if he's fat and you're not fat. Women and men look for different things. In other words, if he's fat, but he's providing $250,000 a year and you're fat and you're providing nothing, then sorry, it's not the same thing. Now, if you want to go give him $250,000 and pay his rent and you don't want him to be fat, that's far more reasonable. But again, I mean, maybe he had a fetish. Who knows? I mean, there are people who are into fat chicks.
Want to say that plus size women don't deserve a man who makes six figures, which I've dated men who make six figures, and I know you have as well.
For sure.
And the thing is that there is no sort of like requirement for a man to make six figures and then have certain like looks or traits. Like any man,
Literally.
if he can figure it out,
Okay.
he can make six figures.
We've delved so far into the world of stupidity that it's hard for me to even answer what she just said. Number one, yes, of course, any man or any woman could make six figures a year. I don't think how you look is entirely relevant to how much money you make. There's other qualities that are far more relevant. Number one, if you're willing to take risks in life, that's, if you're impulsive and you jump on opportunities, that's the number one attribute that will make you a lot of money. It's also the number one attribute that will lose you a lot of money. I am highly impulsive. I have made many millions of dollars. I have lost money. I'm overall very, very up. I'm lucky because I'm also learning to be very responsible with the decisions I make. But a lot of the success I have in life is because I don't wait. I see something happening and I do it. I don't even worry about how well I do it. I just want to be first to do it. And that's a major contributor. It has nothing to do with if I was obese or if I was skinny. Regardless, again, it has nothing to do with what you deserve. It's irrelevant what you deserve. It's what you expect that is the problem. You expect a six-figure guy who has certain attributes, and guys who fit into a category. Like, let's just create this hypothetical right now. If you're a good-looking dude, and I want women to really think about this. Imagine you're dealing with a guy who is very attractive, who makes a ton of money, who is charismatic, who's intelligent. He's getting far more attention from girls than you realize. He's getting attention also in a way that girls actually want to date him. They don't just want to sleep with him. They will sleep with him, but they also want to date him. In other words, his options are wide open, and he will have the opportunity to date girls at his level. It's just how it works, right? Vice versa, it's how it works. If you're a supermodel girl, you're going to have the opportunity to date guys that a girl who is not a supermodel would otherwise not have the opportunity to date. And so you're looking at this perfect archetype of a male and you're saying, I deserve that. I'm entitled to that. I want that. But again, if you're a 5 on 10 within the value structure, I'm not talking about just looks, within every capacity that a man could want in a woman, and you're looking for a 10 on 10 in every capacity that a woman will look for in a man, there's going to be 6s who want that same guy. There's going to be 7s who want that same guy. There's going to be 8s that want that same guy, 9s who want that same guy, and 10s who want that same guy. And so why is he choosing you? That's not a douchebag comment. It's an honest question. And so again, all I see lately is entitlement and a step away from saying, well, I want to be a traditional woman. I want to be able to do what I want. I want to be able to live the lifestyle the way I want. But I also want, again, all the things that men have historically given to women. You do not get both. You do not get to live in a society where you get all the benefits with none of the kind of consequences. And I don't even want to say consequences. It's not consequences, but provisions of the opposite side that you should be providing. And it's not to say that there's not a lot of traditional women out there. I actually think there's a lot of girls who realize this and are stepping back into it and want to have those kind of traditional relationships again, where a man provides for you, takes care of you. But it ties me back into, I don't know if you saw the previous video, but Jonah Hill, the whole thing with him where he's setting boundaries and she makes it seem like that's emotional abuse. Women nowadays believe it's emotional abuse for a man to set boundaries and say, I don't want you to go take sexy pictures with other dudes every day and go out on, parties and long vacation trips with girls who you've historically acted like a hoe with. I don't want you to do that. Go for coffee with them. That makes you an emotionally abusive man nowadays in a lot of women's eyes. And a lot of guys are seeing that and saying, all right, well, if I'm an 8, I'll just keep sleeping around. If I'm a 6, I'll just keep sleeping around. It's not like it's hard for men to get sex nowadays. And men are even opting not to do that. So it's just a weird environment that we live in nowadays where we've completely inverted a lot of value systems. And this is the end result. And we're seeing kind of the opposite of what you've seen historically, which is a lot of guys are just choosing not to pursue women. And I don't think there's a positive outcome to that. So listen, I hope you liked this video. Kind of depressing, but kind of crazy too. Crazy. So like and subscribe. And like I said, new podcast, so hoping to grow it. And I appreciate you watching.